Could we real quick backtrack to when you guys were talking about harsh vocals, and I believe you were referring to like when you sing clean vocals, a pitch or a note, you're like, oh, and then you translate that to a harsh vocal, that note. Do you think that note can also be replicated well with an inhale versus an exhale, or is there a difference there?
So the problem you face with an inhale is it is a lot harder to sing cleanly on an inhale. So the start on a clean, fade into a harsh, fade back into a clean proofing method doesn't work. But a lot of people hate on inhales, and
I used to be one of them. I used to be until like I actually went into it more.
Yeah, I would genuinely like to. Every time I say this, people think it's rhetorical, but no, I want to see evidence. Give me the opinion of somebody who has studied this and can articulate it in a way that makes anatomical sense. Give me something that's like peer-reviewed or the quality of a peer-reviewed thing, not just a YouTuber who's really good at fry and false chord screaming who also says, oh yeah, don't inhale scream.
And I guess that was like, I guess it was just, I was kind of ignorant to some of the technique. I always just thought it was, always just taught it was bad. Don't do that. You'll hurt yourself, because you really can hurt yourself. Like, I've tried it and it does not feel good. Like, I guess because I just don't know. I never practiced that technique,
Like all screams, it's a very specific muscle. If you do it slightly wrong, you're probably going to fuck up your voice.
Yeah.
And my assumption is just that because inhale screaming is not something it's not something you do in nature, so to speak, it's easy to do wrong.
Absolutely.
And you need to be much more specific to do it right. I don't do it often, but I think it sounds really cool. So I do it occasionally, regularly over the last 10 years. Jane is very similar. I know that's one of the things you do. There's like people I hear on the radio. Again, Aaron was talking about a lot of slam vocalists. Yeah. That's the...
And he actually just mentioned like what you just said. He's like, show me evidence. It's like, I've been doing inhale screams. That's all they do.
I think on top of that, the airflow is going a different way with inhales versus exhales, so it's also more difficult to transition from an inhale scream directly to a clean vocal because you're shifting that airflow, and then your vocal cords are like, whoa, we got to cough to like switch it, or sometimes it's just hard to transition between the two.
It's less natural.
Yeah,
it takes more thought, more training.
Yeah,
versus like so many people, and I'm really jealous of these people. So many people can just like scream with no thought. They're like, okay, let me scream. Performs a perfect death metal scream. Like Randy Blythe was talking, and he said he started doing it as like a joke, as a party trick, because he could just like turn off all brain cells and make like one of the most iconic screams in modern metal.
Oh, dude, yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people need to think about it more. And inhale screaming is something that's like weirdly specific. It's not natural. Again, that's not the kind of thing that humans evolved to be able to make this sound because it was useful.
Yeah.
But what's really weird for me is that it's easier for me to create an inhale scream than it is an exhale scream, which is interesting because the human body is not, naturally trained or designed to do that method.
Yeah.
So I don't know why that is for me, but
I'm going to call it a glitch, a hack. Yeah. Well, I was similar. Before I figured out how to do my head voice mixed false chord scream,
as he calls it now.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me the terminology.
Yeah.
But yeah, the most like intense scream I could do was either a really quiet fry scream that I could only do if I was both properly warmed up and not worn out. So very narrow range, absolutely not sustainable in live shows. That's why I had to make the switch. Yeah. Once we started playing live, I'm like, this is not what I can do. But the alternative to that was my inhale scream, which is loud as fuck. And this might be for the listeners, a helpful differentiation. If your inhale scream is quiet, it's probably not proper inhale technique.
Really?
This is also the recurring thing I hear from voice teachers. They say inhale screams are too quiet to be convincing and they will hurt your voice. But my inhale screams are really loud, ear-piercing. Jane's, I have heard, we've recorded together. They are ear-piercing. They are crazy loud.
You guys have to show me because I want to get in on this, on this knowledge.
I want to hear more about your take on inhale because you're more versed in inhale screaming than I am.
I'm genuinely curious. I would, I want to learn how to do it. I know I'm gonna cough my brains out because every time I try it, I do.
I practice inhales by warming up by going like. So I'll try the different pitches, right? And I'll try and figure out where I'm at there. And then I'll eventually gravitate towards like a... or like a... And I like to kind of gravitate or I like to practice shifting up and down between them. Because when I sing, I really love going like... No, no, no. Kind of like that. So I want to practice that with inhales as well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I like to practice that with inhales as well, sort of like, kind of, and
again, all screams are pitched.
Yeah. So, but somebody told me that inhales were not pitched, and that threw me off for a while because I was like, "What are you talking about? I can replicate that, like, it's yeah."
You got high, low, mid,
And when I do my inhales, it's different based on I'll feel it differently depending on what pitch it is. Like if it's lower, I'll feel it more like in my throat or my chest and open up my throat more.
Yeah.
And you dropping your jaw. That's funny because that's another even for exhale screaming dropping your jaw.
Backtracking to inhales, I will say the one barrier that I've struggled with is enunciating and projecting or articulating S's and T's. It's very difficult to get those very crisp, very sharp when projecting. It's something I've had to work on really hard. Connor, do you have any experience with this?
This is what listening to Philip Glass has taught me about. So the technique of circular breathing. It's a thing with wind instruments in the broad sense of wind. Learn to breathe out of your mouth while breathing in through your nose at the same time. It's just fill up your mouth with air, your cheeks with air. Breathe in through your nose while you're pushing out of your cheeks.
Okay. So kind of like you're humidifying the air a little bit. That's what I was taught too. I just didn't know it was called circular breathing.
Yeah, it's more of a thing in, again, modernist classical music. There's Philip Glass is famous for writing things with really repetitive, nonstop lines that if you're performing on any brass or woodwind instruments, you need to learn how to breathe in through your nose while pushing out through your cheeks at the same time. And what I took from that with inhale screaming is fill your cheeks with air because you're already inhaling. And so you just take a second to push out the air you're inhaling through your cheeks and then resume your normal course. Like a... Seashells by the seashore.
You don't know what death entails. Yeah, for me, the S's are really difficult for me still, but the T's I'm a little bit better at for some reason.
So give me a crash course. How would you start off an inhale?
So the warm up would be so yeah, and you can practice with the mids, the highs, and the lows. So the lows pulling more from your diaphragm. I mean, you're really utilizing your diaphragm anyways, but
I love inhales, particularly for pig squeal sounds.
I mean, was that good? Am I doing it right? I don't even know. Is that basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does it feel uncomfortable?
Not really. I mean, I guess because I took what you did Because usually when I try it, I'm like, ah, and then I'll cough. But like the way you explained it, like
it's sort of like an incremental warm up for your vocal cords. But I also wanted to touch on, it's interesting, you brought up humidity and like your airwaves or your throat. When you're exhaling when you sing, the air is more humid or more warm because it's from inside your body, whereas you're inhaling cold air sometimes, depending on the situation, but it's usually colder, drier.
That is a primary danger. It's like inhaling too quickly or with too open of a mouth. If you watch people inhale screaming, they'll keep a very closed mouth because you're trying to let little air in.
Minimal.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. Imagine the size of your lungs versus like the amount of air out there. It doesn't take a lot of air to move your vocal cords, so don't overexert yourself.
Honestly, like when you get to a point where screaming is almost easier than talking, like this, like it should feel that comfortable. It should be. You know, like don't get me wrong. Like I said, when emotion comes in, you're going to do some shit that's going to hurt your voice a little bit. I experienced it in the studio, but it was for a good cause.
Yeah, that's the acting part of it.
Yeah.
And everyone should be willing to suffer for their art. That's kind of the entire point of art, is to put suffering through a meaningful channel so that you don't have to suffer without cause.
I'm going to try more inhales now.
But when you're practicing, if you feel pain, if you feel sharp pain, just address what you've been doing, trying to do it without pain. Discomfort, natural. That's fine.
Absolutely.
That's how you learn a new skill, is practicing it until you experience discomfort.
Because just doing that, it feels a little, because that's not something I usually normally do. So that's a whole different muscle group, basically. But, I mean, that felt good. Like, I wouldn't do it all the time, but I definitely want to try it a little bit more now because I'm curious.
It's a nice skill to have in your toolbox.
Yeah.
I don't remember if we already touched on this or not, but I remember we had a conversation once where we were talking about inhales and the general opinions of it. And you said, to my understanding, inhales, they don't project air outwards, so they have a tendency to project quieter. So with a live performance, would you say that it could also be helpful to have like a really good sound person who understands what kind of screams you're projecting so it sounds better in the studio versus live performance?
It depends on
the sound person.
Well, I'd say it depends on the type of scream because, again, the review I hear from a lot of people, mostly, again, YouTube voice teachers, is that inhale screams are quieter because you're sucking air in. But empirically, that is not what I've heard. The people who rely on inhales are the people who do inhale screams very loudly. It's just because the way they do the inhale scream, it's mostly not like sucking air in. It's doing this weird projection thing of it's coming partially in and it's bouncing back out of your throat.
Yeah, it's like reverse compression.
Yeah.
I was literally just thinking that.
Yeah, as I was explaining it earlier, right?
I can just give a... At least my microphone agrees. That's not very quiet. That's the pterodactyl screech. Pterodactyl! And so that's a proper inhale scream in the sense of you're like bouncing things off your vocal cords and back out.
That's very intriguing. I'm glad we were thinking the same thing.
Yeah. This is the main hang up people get is like some people... Just like with exhale screams, sometimes you don't know what muscle you're supposed to be activating. And so you just suck air in and it sounds weak. Like I can't do an impression of that because that's something that comes naturally to me. I just recognize the limits of it. I can do inhale screams that are really high, really low, but the middle, the like very articulate, I can't do with inhale screams. So I need to learn other techniques.
Yeah. That high scream, man, was something that I was so pumped when I figured that out, man.
Yeah, there's so many ways to make these complex sounds. It's in the nature of them. They're complex. They are achieved at any sort of limit of experience, whether that's you're really pissed at your Xbox and you just spontaneously, oh, fuck!
Or if you're just cooking fucking food in your kitchen.
God damn it!
God damn it! Why won't you fucking just? I don't know, something like that, something nuts.
Or you decide to reverse the flow of the voice.
And see, that would mess me up. I feel like that because I'm actually feeling that tickle from inhaling.